Excellent stuff. It really is. You all kind of said the same thing, and that is letting people achieve to their ultimate, which is good. That goes back to culture, and that would be my final question about building culture. How do you do that, and how do you maintain it? And Quentin, we'll start with you.
So I'm a huge sports fanatic, and I have gotten people at MEDC who are not sports fanatic to understand the notion of team, because Michiganders are relentlessly focused on winning. And we have a winning tradition. We're a part of one of the cathedrals of winning here. And this gentleman has done such an amazing part of that. And so what I think you get people to do is to see that they can be a part of being a champion. And I think what you always hear is becoming a champion is a journey. It's a perpetual journey. If you ask Coach Izzo, he's won significantly more games than any Big Ten coach. But he'll tell you he's still on a journey to find something else. Tom Brady, you name it. Anybody that has accomplished extraordinary things. And Andrew, this is your third startup in one of the most difficult industries. And so you get people to sort of buy in that it's a journey and that we're coming on that journey. And at some point, you got to have some fun.
I knew I was here for a reason. I didn't know what the reason was, but the reason is every time you get with people that have been successful, I learned one big word in the UP, it was osmosis. And even you, Chris, doesn't know what that means, but it travels, You sit by people, you want to be around people and rub up shoulders with people who have been successful because you learn something, and I couldn't agree more. You say access. If you ask me what I thought I was best at, some people will say yelling at an official, decent at it.
Yeah.
Some people would say, defense or rebounding, I say you're not even close. The only thing I'm better than 99% of the coaches in America is I'll spend time with my players. When you spend time with your people, they understand you and you understand them. And it's not by text or email. Now, if I was in big companies, poor Mel's got 100, I got 13. But I got parents, I got recruits. I don't care who it is. I try to be accessible. I try to spend time. And I do what I tell my little 8-year-old campers. I learn to listen, but I listen to learn. And if you can listen to learn instead of just being the used car salesman that just keeps talking, you hear things. Well, I've heard things from these two guys. My players will hear later today because every day you learn a little something new. When you quit learning, it's time to do what you've kind of done, retire,
Stay out of the way.
There you go.
Okay, good. All right, you see the danger in being his friend? Andrew, if you would.
I think that, I think building a culture and maintaining it might be even harder because especially as you get bigger, a company like ours, we have 500 people now, and a year from now we'll have well over 1,000. But I think it starts with, I agree with what was just said. I think that you have to have passion. So I think it starts there. If you sense that there's an energy, there's a passion, and I think that it really starts, I guess, with me, quite honestly. And but there's many others who I think buy into that, and therefore they have that same passion. And I think that's a fundamental part of it to get everybody really excited. And I think it's exciting and fun to be part of a winning team. When you win, it's fun, and it kind of you get in this virtuous circle that is just wonderful if you can get there, and you got to celebrate the wins that you have. But I also agree that listening is really important, and I think Coach said it a few times, is explaining why. The why is important to get people to buy in, because if they don't know why, it's harder. Then you're just telling them what to do. What you really want people to do is understand and buy in because they get it. And because that's going to get your best team, that's going to get your best results, that's going to create the right kind of culture that can self-perpetuate as you get much bigger.
It's interesting. We've got a lot of challenges, especially in the business community, and things like inflation, supply chain, all those things. Number one issue for almost the last 10 years has been talent, getting people and keeping people. And Tom, you touched on this. It's a very different talent than you got 10 or 15 years ago. So I want to talk a little bit about how you select those people, how you get them in, and how you're managing them in the new reality. Tom, you might.
Well, I've got a couple of sayings too and things, I'm looking for coaches that would confront and demand. A lot of people don't want to confront. They don't want to get into that. You've got to confront the problem, then you got to demand that it changes. So I'm looking for some people like that. But the biggest one I came up with a couple years ago, I tried to look at all these kids. I said, what's going to separate them? There's a lot of good players. And so I thought of the 3 L's. Do you like what you do? Do you love what you do? Or do you live what you do? And to be good, you can like it. To be great, you got to love it. But to be a champion, or in my world, to win the Big Ten, to win a national championship, for my players to get to the NBA level, you got to live what you do. And I tell them it's easier now than it was back then. And they all look at me like I'm crazy because there's better players. There's better players. There's just not as many self-motivated players. There's not as many people that are good self-evaluators. So if you don't evaluate good, you already think you're great. If you think you're great, you don't work as hard. So I say you can get where you want because there's not enough people around you that will sacrifice to live it instead of just liking it.
Quentin, you want to?
I couldn't agree more because I think what in coach, and the reason I really look up to leaders of men and women who have to coach, particularly at the collegiate level, is the number one ability is availability, and maybe the second one is coachability, and it's the same thing in any organization. You have to have people who, in our case, who are passionate about the state of Michigan, who want to see the economy expand and open up so that every Michigander on both peninsulas, 10 plus million people, can have an incredible quality of life. That's what we're trying to do. And some of the wins are not as tangible. We may not hoist, a Big Ten banner or NCAA banner, but when we see announcements across the state, across both peninsulas, and we see men and women connecting to opportunity, that is exciting. But you have to have people who are available, who are willing to, and really I learned this from basketball. Basketball used to be, you were either a 1 through 5. Now it's positionless, right?
It is.
And you have to have people who are coming to your organization and say, well, yes, maybe I came in as an attorney, but if I see a problem here in strategy or marketing, I'm going to, lean in and try to. So you need people who are flexible, and so I think that what we can take lessons from basketball and apply them to the corporate arena. You've got to have accessibility, coachability, and people willing to play multiple positions.
Hey, Chris.
I know.
Twice. He said both peninsulas. You haven't forgot the UP, brother. I love it.
There you go.
Thank you. It's about time
Who gets that?
just Quentin and I. We'll get Andrew on board. Europe might be lost cause.
Andrew, if you want to announce your new flight to Ironwood. Ironwood's left of you, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it because you have a little different organization. You're building a culture in what you said is 500 and is going to be 1,000.
Right.
That may be a different task.
It is in some ways, right? Because we need people that for certain jobs have a lot of experience in specific skills. Pilot, they need to know how to fly an airplane. But what really is important is, and what we look for everywhere, is character. We can teach a lot of skills to people. But you can't teach somebody that's not a pilot to be a pilot. We're not in that business. But you want to make sure that the pilots you hire or the mechanics you hire, they have the right attitude. And it comes down to, again, character and buying into what we're selling. And what we're selling is about inspiring travel and our core values and the vision as to where we want to take the company. But you got to have the right character. You got to be ready to work hard. You got to buy into the kind of concept that it's one big team. We're all working together to meet the needs of a customer. And we find those people, then those are the right team players, and they come in and they really love what we're doing, and they jump on this journey with us and build. And they're builders too. You got to be a builder for what we're doing. We're early stage. We're building a business, but that's really fun for a lot of people to come in and kind of leave their mark on something that didn't exist and make it into something really cool.
The little things. I was just thinking because I'm trying to learn from you two guys. I swear to God I am. But I get onto a plane and the attendants, how they treat me makes me think on how, they're the first ones I see. You get some I'm not allowed to swear on this, but people that are not very friendly at the front desk, you feel different. You get on the plane, you feel different. You know what I always love? I look at pilots like doctors. You know, when you walk into a doctor's office, if he's sullen, might be a brilliant doctor, but has zero communication skills. Just incredible. I'm scared before I get in there. If I get on a plane and I look into the cockpit and the guy turns, hey, how you doing? You know, or at the end, those pilots sometimes, some of them kind of greet you as you come off.
Yeah.
That would be a hint for you, because that really excites me. I don't know about you guys. That excites me.
Thanks for flying with us. And we hope we say that a lot in the future, actually.
We definitely do.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming here today. We appreciate it and sharing your knowledge. Quentin Messers from the MEDC, CEO there. Tom Izzo, legendary coach here at MSU, Spartans basketball, and Andrew Levy from Avelo. We thank you for coming to the area with your airline, and we look forward to some great success through you. And everyone out there also agrees they're going to learn a lot about leadership from this. So thank you all for being here.